Channels Television. Reported tonight.
Ijoma Oyato.
Hello and welcome. Tonight, Nigeria's past and current heroes honored by President Goodluck Jonathan for their contribution to the development of the country. Adamawa Governor cut short his visit to Shua village as survivor of Yobe school attack paints vivid picture of incident. Lagos Governor Babatunde Fashola calls for elimination of corruption, urges Nigerian leaders to look beyond crude oil revenue. And Ghana's health minister gives hospital 14 days to produce the bodies of live babies allegedly declared stillborn.
On business news tonight, Nigeria's foreign reserves have dropped 15% in the last 1 year. The figures are down 6.75% month on month.
And in sports news, federal government approves 1.6 billion naira for Super Eagles 2014 FIFA World Cup campaign.
The Queen of England, Her Royal Majesty Elizabeth II, and all former presidents and heads of state are among the 100 people who received awards for their contribution to the growth and development of Nigeria. Other former leaders who are in the posthumous category are Major General Johnson Agui Ironsi, Herbert Macaulay, Nnamdi Azikiwe, Abubakar Tafawa Balewa, Obafemi Awolowo, Amadu Bello, winner of the annulled 1993 presidential election Moshood Abiola, and the late President Musa Yar'Adua. President Goodluck Jonathan, during the awards night of the centenary celebration in Abuja, said that many of the awardees have paid great prices to keep Nigeria united.
Dignitaries arrived one after the other for the centenary awards and dinner night. The President, Dr. Goodluck Jonathan, his wife, Vice President Nnamdi Sando, and his wife all arrived together. Former heads of state, Generals Yakubu Gowon, Muhammadu Buhari, and Ibrahim Babangida were also not left out. The former president, Olusegun Obasanjo, also came in to grace the occasion. Senate President David Mark and the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Aminu Tambuwal, also made the roll call. Taking the stage, the Vice President explained the reason for the gathering.
We owe it to ourselves, to the past and the future generations to tell our story. The story of our experience, our challenges, and most certainly within the continent and the world. Similarly, to underscore the importance of the above, Mr. President further noted that to ignore the significant milestone along the path to this date will be to ignore the essence of our statehood and, most importantly, our most critical responsibility for the generations to whom we will entrust the management of our nation.
And to settle in more properly are these exciting displays of the nation's huge cultural heritage from both the young and the old. For President Goodluck Jonathan, the 100 awardees are among the several others that have given their all to the greatness that the nation boasts of today.
It's extremely difficult to select 100 people from among more than 500 Nigerians that, by all intent and purposes, qualify to be recognized. We decided to be a bit poetic in that way that when we celebrated our 50 years of independence, we selected 50 people. That is the golden award for independence. Then for the centenary, we limited to 100 people, just because of the 100 years. But it was not an easy task Because if you must recognize Nigerians that have chilled within this period, you have more than 500 that are eminently qualified to be recognized.
It's now time for the awards, as past leaders of Nigeria, including former presidents and indeed former heads of state, were the beneficiaries. A great Nigeria devoid of ethnic and religious sentiments is what these group of people gathered here today wish for the country. Indeed, the leaders and the people of Nigeria believe that they can make this work.
Everyone contributing one brick, one block, one cement.
And for the Finance Minister and Coordinating Minister for the Economy, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, the federal government has recorded tremendous achievement in the areas of agriculture, job creation, road rehabilitation, and of course the remodeling of the 22 airports in the country.
Democracy came back and we began to build a platform on which the economy could do better. We stabilized the economy in the 2000s, reduced inflation, obtained debt relief, did some key structural reforms which had been started in the 90s but discontinued. We picked them up again, privatizing certain sectors, unleashing the telecoms revolution, and undertaking consolidation of our banking sector. The economy rebounded with a growth rate of over 7%, and our GDP per capita rose to 1,437 by the end of the decade. But we were still left with the problem of unemployment and a high dependence on oil. And this is really what the transformation agenda is all about. Every decade we talked about moving away from dependence on oil, but the transformation agenda is really about getting that done. So that is in brief 100 years of Nigeria's economic history, which you see is a very checkered one. So in the 2000s, we laid the foundation for this transformation that we're going through. And what is the transformation about? Let me say that it's about people. It's about creating jobs in key sectors. It's about creating wealth and eliminating poverty. It's about solving the problems that Nigerians worry about. It's a people-centered transformation. Let me just give you some examples, because when you talk about the economics, people's eyes glaze over and they say they don't know what it really means for them. So what is contained in this book is, in very simple terms, what has been achieved in order to make the lives of Nigerians better.
Finance Minister there, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, making her own submission and presentation at the centenary celebrations. We're going to shift focus from that to not such good news, as there was pandemonium today in Shua, that's Michika local government area of Adamawa State, when sporadic gunshots from a nearby village forced Governor Murtala Nyako to abort his scheduled visit to the town. Shua is one of the 4 villages that was raided on Wednesday by insurgents, where over 6 people were reported to have been killed. Governor Nyako and his team were on a condolence visit when the gunmen, suspected to be Boko Haram members, opened fire, forcing the governor and his delegation to retreat. Addressing journalists today, the governor criticized the federal government over continued raids by the members of the sect, which he says the military authorities seem to have no answers to. According to him, quote, "There's no excuse whatsoever. We want to know what's happening. We should be able to know where these arms are manufactured and even the signatures of the weapons," end of quote. In the meantime, the Director of Defense Information, Major General Chris Olukolade, has dismissed some media reports that the Adamawa State Governor Murtala Nyako was attacked by members of the Boko Haram sect in Shua town. Well, Major General Olukolade said that the claim that the governor was shot at is unsubstantiated and should be disregarded. The truth, according to him, is that the governor visited Michika and Shura areas of Yobe State to sympathize with the communities that were attacked by terrorists. And while returning, the convoy came across an alarm raised by some people who had mistaken a military patrol at Kinchingal village for another attack by the terrorists. Well, here's an emotional account of one of the survivors of the Yobe school attack. Recounting his experience, this boy narrated how he was shot at by the gunman, after which he scrambled into a nearby bush before he was eventually rescued and rushed to hospital.
The time was we finished our prep around 10 o'clock. I went to my bed with my friend. He told me that let us sleep. And me, I say yes, okay. Then he heard the gun sound. Then he said, let us go to Benue house. He started saying, everyone should carry on one side eye and sleep. Then we started crawling on the ground. Then went under bank. The man started shooting the gun anywhere.
Shooting everywhere.
Yeah. Then he shot me on my hand. The bullet
Swap your hand.
He swabbed my hand and enter my stomach. Yeah, then my intestine come out. At that moment, I hold my intestine and jump into window and go to bush. As we are running, the Boko Haram shot my friends. Me, I run to bush and sleep. Yes, I see Matthias. He said me. He saw the wound on my hand. He didn't see
your stomach.
Yes.
The inside side.
Then he carried me. Then I say, no, Matthias, you cannot help me. You cannot help me. Just leave me. Let people come. Then he saw my intestine. He started crying.